In order to properly talk about her place on the meta, we kind of need to talk about this team. This team is painful. With the release of the Celestial Gift artifact set, this team got better, and it was already relatively good. But the biggest problem with it is that it's very inconsistent. If you want to play this team, the main idea behind it is instead of doing Melt with Xilonen, you do Vape with Mona, and Vape is less damage, but Mona's numbers, the buffs that she gives, are way higher than what Xilonen gives.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Honestly, I didn't expect to be talking about Mavuika so much this past couple of weeks, but here we are again, because I was messing around with the HexeVape concept. I think I've come up with a team that's way less annoying than what Zajef was coming up with. Zajef's team involves Sucrose and Iansan, which of course makes sense in theory, because Iansan is Mavuika's strongest attack buffer, and Sucrose can give both Red Shred and EM to Mavuika. But I think Zajef has alluded to how dank the team is with things like having to go Sucrose before Mona in order to get a Pyro VV, and needing to use Sucrose's Butterfly ult with a Hydro Infusion just to get enough Hydro Aura, ostensibly for the advanced Mavuika combos, and obviously for more uptime on the Hydro app, since Mona's skill famously doesn't last that long. So to that end, I offer an alternative that is at the very least seemingly feeling actually perfectly fine to play, at least for me, which is was with Xilonen and Nicole. Xilonen has the advantage of not needing a specific aura to get the Pyro Red Shred, and of course it lasts longer, being 15 seconds instead of 8. This team can actually let Xilonen get the Pyro Crystallize as well, so we get Pyro Scroll working, which is of course a major advantage over the Mavuika Vape team. And even though Nicole won't always give Mavuika a bigger flat attack buff than Iansan, we're looking at 600 at the start at least, versus Iansan's 810, she does have one advantage, which is more damage percent via Hexa Scroll. And after 3 seconds of on-field time, Mavuika does end up getting that plus 300 flat attack anyway from Nicole's passive. It's just basically half her DPS window uptime where she gets it. And for what it's worth, there's also Nicole's ult damage, which we're going to use. Because I have C2 Xilonen, I've also gone for an ER stand on Nicole, and I still get 4k attack anyway, so then I can just use her ult every rotation, but this is actually quite optional. Not 100% sure if this is the best way to set up Mona, but I've pretty much got her on Favs, Noblesse, as much crit rate and ER as possible, pretty much full support. So obviously, if you are actually someone who can actually do those advanced Mavuika combos, there might be a good to fair chance that this team is not going to work for you, because maybe Mona's Hydro app is just simply not enough for that. Let me know in the comments if that is the case. I want to keep this video a little shorter than my other Mavuika videos that I've done recently because of how strong this team is. The B-roll clips end up being a lot shorter, so before we continue, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because your support, as always, can help with the YouTube algorithm. This Friday is also going to be the Miko Buffs announcement livestream, and then 2 Wednesdays from then, we will of course get the almighty Miko Buffs God tier release livestream, so really looking forward to that day myself. Here's how the team functions. It's a pretty straightforward setup. Because we have a lot of damage percent coming in from Scroll and Peak from Xilonen, Hexa Scroll on Nicole, and of course Mona's ult, the build that I have on Mavuika is my old EM attack crit build. The tricky part of the rotation is probably going to be the Mona Hydro setup, mainly trying to set up 3 normal attacks on Mona and then swapping to Mavuika as quickly as possible, so that the ult nuke can actually take advantage of Mona's Hexerei buffs, where Vapes get even more damage percent, but only 1, therefore we want to put it on her ult that does a lot of damage and is of course a nuke. Keep in mind, if you have C4 Mona, there's a crit rate buff in there, and in my experience that pretty much has 100% uptime during Mavuika's DPS window. As you'll notice, I've also cut Mavuika's DPS window duration by a bit. The timing that I find makes the most sense is pretty much as soon as the target doesn't have any Hydro Aura, because Mona's totem is gone. Shorter rotations tend to result in higher DPS, usually, and that seems to be the case with this team as well. Thankfully, the cooldowns for Nicole and Mona's abilities all pretty much line up in such a way that they're ready to go again, even with shorter Mavuika uptime.
Shadows of Fate! Light of the blazing sun! me scribe.
Pyroclastic surge! Incinerate! Rev the engines!
Here's a controversial statement. It seems to be better to use Nicole's ult, even though Mavuika is famously not a Hexerei character. Typically, we save Nicole's ult to use with someone like Venti or Vaka because they're of course Hexerei characters, thus the ult buff not only takes into account the on-fielder's attack and crit, but it also takes into account a whole lot of Nicole's own attack. And Nicole famously builds somewhere around 4,000 attack before anything starts up, which is of course going to be a lot more than even what my Mavuika build actually has. The thing is though, after trying to play this team without Nicole's ult, I seem to get similar DPS within the margin of error, but I will say it just doesn't feel as nice to play because there's a good to fair chance I run into a situation of having to wait for Mavuika's ult cooldown to come back, which is a problem if I've already used Mona's ult and then Mona's skill in particular, because that's just eating into that skill uptime. The workaround is to stay on Mavuika until the Omen is completely gone, which means we'll have some time where Mavuika's not vaping at all, and it will just basically be a very scuffed mono-pyro team. So in the interest of not making things boring, I personally would side on actually using Nicole's ult anyway, because why not? At the end of the day, turns out this team is a bit stronger than the Mavuika Vape team that I've been playing for a good long while. Part of this is probably because Nicole is busted, part of this is because Hexa memes can be pretty damn strong, part of this is also because we're finally getting that Pyro scroll again on Xilonen. But this is by definition a hypercarry team, so if you've gotten any investment in an off-fielder like Farina in the past, you may prefer the Mavuika Vape team that I've been playing over this. In a similar fashion, of course, the reverse is true as well. If you've been investing a lot in your Mavuika, you may want to play this team instead. Oh, by the way, I did try running Fischl over Nicole. It's probably because my Fischl is on GT instead of Hexa Scroll, but this team is a massive DPS loss over Nicole, so I wouldn't really recommend it outside of fighting something like Stygian Watcher. Other variations with someone like Sucrose also make sense for this team, but mainly if you're going up against something like Stygian Tulpa.
Each deed will be judged.
Fate is upon you.
But I think that'll do it for this video. A much easier to play HexeVape Mavuika team in my opinion, with still some really strong supports. I wonder how many of us actually play the HexeVape Mavuika team with Sucrose and Yansan. Let me know what all this in the comments below. Are you doing that? Maybe you're still a melt player. I don't know. I heard Zajef mention that somehow HexeVape Mavuika might be somehow better than melt Mavuika. I won't speak to that any further than just merely guessing, which I'm guessing is probably not, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Genshin Impact action, and as always, until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.